I'm Denise Burl-Stinson, and as of a month ago, I became the culture editor at this little startup within the New York Times called T-Bread Studio. And basically they do native advertising, some people call it sponsored content, which is like this kind of new, fun, cool way that a lot of media properties are trying to stay afloat, which is doing like traditional journalism stories, except they're sponsored by like big brands. So it's kind of weird hybrid of editorial and ad stuff. And before that, I was at Condé Nast for like a lifetime. And I was the research chief at Lucky Magazine, and before that I did some work at Condé Nast Traveler, and then my graduate school internship was at the New Yorker.
Hi everyone, I'm Pooja Bedlani. I'm one of the co-founders of a company called Rank and Style, and we basically do data-driven top 10 lists of the best fashion and beauty products. So think if you're looking for skinny jeans or volumizing mascara and you try to search for that on the internet, gives you 5 million results and you don't know what you're looking for. So we use an algorithm, it's not personal opinion, to tell you whatever the 10 best products are in any single product category. So next week will be our 2-year birthday or anniversary. And before Rank and Style, I am formally trained as a graphic designer. I was working at Time Inc., Sundance Channel, a couple agencies here and there. And have been full-time oriented self for about a year now.
Awesome. Hey guys, I'm Kelly Bartlett, and I am the Director of Makeup Artistry for a company called LIM Squad. And LIM Squad is an on-demand beauty service. Yes, she's heard of it. Yes. I love it. Yes, hair and makeup at LIM Squad. So we're an app-based beauty provider that brings the highly trained makeup and hair to you. So we're launching nails soon, which is really exciting. So be sure to download that app and get a service. Before Glam Squad, I was actually at MAC Cosmetics for around 10 years. A long time. I'll tell you. And then, thank you. I love that. Everyone just got so attractive. Some good lighting. And then I graduated at NYU. So yeah, there you have it.
Hi guys, my name is Eileen Dotrish and I'm the social media manager at Moroccan Oil, the leaders in oil-infused beauty and hair care. I've been there for 2 years and I've pretty much started the digital department, social media, building it from the ground up. But prior to that, I worked at an agency where I led social media for beauty and fashion clients like MAC Cosmetics, Aveda, Rachel Roy, 9 West. So pretty much all my life in digital.
Awesome. So to start, and we'll start with Denise and have everyone answer, do you have a mentor and how do you find them?
Do I have a mentor? No, I actually don't have a mentor, but I have a lot of people and a lot of friends and a lot of people that I met along the way who just sort of became ambassadors and champions of my professional aspirations. So like nothing formal, but just sort of like, being out there and working diligently and working hard, and talking to people and having a lot of, great conversations and email exchanges. That maybe for a long time didn't lead to opportunity, but then all of a sudden they did, but just sort of, really just having great lines of communication open with people in formal professional ways and informal professional ways. And then when the time was right, the opportunity sort of just came.
So I've had different mentors throughout my life. In high school I had some of my teachers. When I became a graphic designer, was someone that I interned with. She just sort of became someone that I relied on for anything from jobs to sort of life advice. And now in my business, I wouldn't say I had like a formal mentor, but there are like 3 or 4 people at any time there's anything going on in our business that we need advice and who we trust. There are a couple of people that we just go to. So while they're not sort of our formal mentors, anyone that we've asked to be our mentor, they're the people that we sort of rely on for every piece of advice.
No, not formally. My Nana was a makeup artist, and I look to her for so much inspiration on the daily. So I definitely do think of her as sort of like when I'm working something out, I'll kind of talk to her and see what she has to say. But in my professional world, I think for me, the people that have taught me the most are the people that said no to me. The people who, like from my guidance counselor at school, who was like, I'm a girl from Kansas. They're like, you want to go to New York? Huh? No. So in a lot of ways, that taught me to sort of rise above it and continue to make my own path. Currently, I do have someone that is a former colleague of mine at my former place of business, who we sort of meet casually, and I really do mean that. It's nothing formal. We don't have like a date set in the books, every quarter or anything like that, but it's someone who I know that I can either shoot a quick text message to, even if I'm just going through something and I need an open ear. So I approach that mentorship as sort of something more personal rather than professional, because I think it does inform who you are in your professional life. I actually think you touched on something that I definitely agree with, because you never really know who your potential mentor could be, right? So many of our professional relationships, I know even me at Glam Squad, I heard about the gig through my best friend and college roommate at Google, who had heard about Glam Squad before it was even a thought. So, and then made the connection that way. So, treating every, personal relationship like it could potentially lead to something professional, and also vice versa. I think you want to be the person that people want to come to for advice, and you also want to be able to do it for someone else. So making sure that even though those lines can sometimes get blurry, making sure that you're always putting that foot forward in the best light possible. Yeah.
I always like to think of who it is that I'm considering that mentor, because some people, they do have kind of like a clear church and state. I'm thinking of one person specifically who we're friendly, but she's not, the person I'd go out on with us on a Saturday night or something like that. But I definitely do like to keep it personal, like everyone's saying here, because you don't want it to get too formal and kind of like too, I guess, like formulaic, and it just gets kind of awkward sometimes. But I do treat everyone like they are a good friend of mine. I make sure that I do the things that I do, like whatever I would do for my best friends, keep making sure that like I'm aware of like what's going on in their lives. And I think with social media, it's kind of easy if you just like follow someone on Twitter and you know that they just had like a big career milestone, reaching out and congratulating them and stuff like that. So I wouldn't say it's like that like pal thing, but I would definitely keep it personal and friendly, but just understanding what their personality is like as well.
Their time and attention. So yeah, it can be formal, it can be not formal, but just making sure that you like them enough, or that someone likes you enough to take that extra interest in you and what you want to do. That's a sort of baseline for any type of networking.
So sort of Kelly this time, but kind of going off of that, liking someone is so important in this, and like having that personal touch. So do cold call emails ever work, and is there a way to make them work?
Yes, they do work if you don't assume too much. For me, the just over-sweeping advice is the email that comes into your inbox that says, do you have time tomorrow to talk? You're assuming a lot. You're assuming, one, that I want to talk to you, because I don't really know who you are. This is a cold email. And two, you're assuming that I want to take on that sort of relationship without knowing you. So, yes, they can work. I definitely think making an introduction is the biggest thing. If you know someone who knows someone that can take the time and is willing to take the time to just write a couple quick sentences. I don't need to know what you ate for breakfast this morning, or that you have a weird special skill of being able to dismantle a lobster in under 30 seconds. Like, it can just actually be like, hey, you actually think, I think that you might really get to know this person really well, and you guys might benefit from each other's relationship. So that's been something that's worked for me in the past, and I definitely, when I'm thinking of people that I want to connect, that's the way that I like to do it, rather than sending that cold email of, hi, my name is so-and-so, this is what I'm working on, do you have 15 minutes, or can I call you today, when's a good time to call you, can I, or just call in general.
I agree. I think they work. It's just about your approach. I know in the past, like when I was in college, I used to just send cold emails because I didn't have like the industry that I wanted to be in. I didn't know anyone in it, so it was kind of like you hear the advice, well, you need to know someone to be in fashion or beauty. Well, I didn't have those connections, so I relied on like cold emails. But I kept it brief because I know these people's time, like they're busy. They don't have time to read a 3-paragraph email. Like again,
took specific interest in me, so I'm going to reciprocate with specific interest in them. But it's also like manage expectations. Like I might not be able to have you for coffee at the office the next day or for 45 minutes, but if someone's willing to wait maybe a week or two for that 15 minutes on the phone, I'm going to remember. I also don't mind being nudged. If I said that I was going to get back to you and I didn't, and we had a cordial email relationship, just come back and just say, hey, I'm just following up, and that's all. And I'm like, you know what, I did put myself on the hook to give you, to spend 15 minutes on the phone with you, and I'm gonna follow through. That's the thing, is I'll keep my word. If it takes me a little time and I said I would spend 15 minutes on the phone with you or go out to coffee with you, I'm not gonna welch on that deal. I'm gonna come through, but just that intro is so essential.
Yeah, no, I agree with the constant gentle pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Only because there was a time when I was like sitting at my and looking at the phone and waiting for someone to call me or answer an email and give me that 15 minutes on the phone that was so precious. So like karmically I owe. And I will come through, but there's just a way to, for everyone to kind of manage it so it works for all parties involved.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everyone else. I think context is really key, like not just sending out a random email where you just found someone on a list, but like, I saw you speak, or I saw like this article about you, or like, I really appreciate the way you do this. Just like give some sort of context so that people are more willing to read and get to know you. And then I think also, even if you haven't heard from the person, I think it's okay, like a week later or 2 weeks later to like, again, say like, I'm really sorry to bother you, but like, can you just, take some time or like follow up or whatever, because I think we often get so many emails, and a lot of times, like in my business, I get a lot of those emails from people that are like, from businesses that are like, I want to speak to you tomorrow, like, and it's like, it sort of all gets mixed together, and so it's okay, and it's like, it's not like we're trying to hurt your feelings, or like anyone's trying to hurt your feelings, but just sometimes it's busy, and I think it's okay to follow up.
So that was kind of the way to do it. I know personally, like I will have a lot that have a lot of things not to do it. Like I'll get emails that are like, I just read this book and I like this and I want a job, and like they won't actually connect with me. Or I'll have ones where they like will send one on Christmas Eve and then follow up on Christmas Day when clearly I'm not going to probably respond to them. What are common mistakes that you see people making on online networking or at events like this? I'm starting with Eileen.
I think one thing that, and maybe it's just for me, is trying to reach out too many times via social media. I remember there's like a specific instance where people like would constantly tweet me, and I'm just kind of like, I get it, and I remember I responded, I was like, hey, shoot me an email, but they just insisted on tweeting, and at that point I was like, stop it. So I think you need to kind of understand like the platform, like why people are there. Like if my profile was one of those where I'm like, I offer career advice and I'm this and that, then I'd be okay, like I expect you to reach out. But if I'm tweeting about the traffic on like 5th Avenue trying to get to work, I'm clearly not trying to like connect or what have you. So I think it's just like the, like kind of not crossing the line, because like again, my Twitter is also connected to my beauty blog. So it's more of like understanding why that person's there. But I think of people like Eva Chen, who is amazing on social media, and she does offer career advice every now and then, whether it's through her blog or Twitter, or she like answers. Really, I love her. So it's just like understanding who it is and like why they're there. So like if you see someone like Eva Chen, okay, maybe she may be the one to respond via social media, and maybe Eileen isn't, or just not really understanding like who it is and why they're on the platform. Maybe social isn't the best way. I believe in an email, and then like moving forward from there.
I think sometimes a mistake that people make is just like reaching out to someone and then giving them a deadline. It's like, I need to know by today, or like, I have this due, so if you could just let me know by this time. And for me, I just get a little creeped out when someone kind of cold emails me or cold calls me and needs something from me by a certain time. And I'm just like, approaching someone who you don't know with a deadline I find it like very, very, very alienating.
Well, you already have enough deadlines in your life.
That's the thing, like everyone's trying to manage their deadlines. And just, I'm not saying that you have to sort of like, grovel for time, but just being, sort of appreciative of the time that you do get for someone whose input you're looking for to sort of help you professionally. But being given a deadline from someone I don't know, I'm like, ooh, God, I don't know if this this relationship is gonna go anywhere.
This might just be me, but I really don't like when people just like add me on LinkedIn and like they've never met me, or they don't like provide any context, or like they don't even send a note. Like I just am like, I'm not gonna add you, and like, it just sort of rubs me the wrong way. So I feel like if you're gonna do that sort of thing, like at least like add a note, or like again, like with the context in emails, like did we ever meet? Did you ever see me? Like have we ever spoken? And do it that way.
Yeah, like ghosting. So.
Yeah.
You know, for me, because of my line of work, I often am prompted to go to someone's Instagram or their Twitter or some kind of social channel of theirs to check out their work. Don't assume that, again, back to assumptions, right? Don't assume that I want to follow 16 different links to really get to know your work and that I have time to go to your website to check out more about me. I'm okay with you saying a couple of things of note, or even a couple of, if you're a graphic designer, or if you're actually a makeup artist, or any kind of artist, really, and you want to show me a couple things, a couple snippets at the bottom to give me some context is great. But I don't really have a ton of time to sift through selfies with your boyfriend to then find maybe the one picture from New York Fashion Week that you, or the one article that you wrote, or the one piece of information that you had. So making sure you make it as easy as possible for me to want to connect with you and to want to get to know you and see your best self too in that one little snippet of time that I have.
So this is going to be the last question. So while you are here right now, you're essentially almost serving as a mentor for people in this room. So what advice do you wish that you had received when you were first starting your career? I'll start with
I think that like I got all the advice that now I give to, that now I give to other people. It doesn't really change over the ages, diligence, hard work, be on time, say please, say thank you. That stuff never changes. But now the sort of like, the context is different with, so much social media and Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest and Twitter. Just be very mindful of how you kind of curate and maintain your social media profiles. It's just very easy to kind of let one sort of creepy thing slip through. And that's just a responsibility of like your generation that you have to take on. Control and sometimes that that you can't control. So just be really mindful of it, and just know like it's pretty standard these days. As soon as your name comes through, over email or through reference or on LinkedIn, people are just keying your name and Googling you. That's like the first, it's not creepy, it's not bad. That is the standard part of like building any professional relationship now. So just know that like if you reach out to someone before they call you back, before they email you back, they're probably just looking you up. So just be mindful of that and kind of take it from there.
Two pieces of advice. I think one, sort of echoing what T said, be nice. Like I think just be a nice person and like treat people that you're reaching out to professionally like you do your friends again. Like I think that's really important. And I think the second thing is just like don't be afraid to reach out to people and ask like if you can have 10 minutes of their time or like meet them for coffee. Like most people, especially with growing their business, like I would be nowhere without like the network that I have and like the people that I've reached out to ask for help and advice. And if I was afraid to do that, then like I would be nowhere. So I think just wherever you are in your life, whatever position you're in, like don't be afraid to ask people for help, because like most people are willing to at least give you 10-15 minutes of their time and nothing more.
In addition to absolutely all of that, I think you have to realize that your career is long. We work for a lot of our lives, and so approaching it with that mentality that you're not just trying to get to a finish line, that you're really trying to build something that you will continue to climb for the rest of your life or until you retire and are on a beach in Bali somewhere and they'll come visit you. So approaching every single interaction with that idea that you're not in it for yourself, but you're in it to create the network for other people. And I find that the most successful networkers that I've known have been the ones that are more than willing to connect you with other people, and so you want to do the same for them. So not being in it for yourself, being in it to connect others and really go from there.
I feel like I can write a book on this topic. Because we are like stuck on time. I would say the one thing is don't take it personal. And that's something that I did very early on when I was starting. I'm like, I emailed so many people and no one would get back to me. They don't like me. And I felt like it was like people were targeting me. And I'm like, and when now I look back, I'm like, no, people were just busy. Because I think of like my time now, I'm like, I'm working, I'm doing so many things. And people might not have time to respond. Don't take it personal. Follow up. Don't let that like kind of hinder you from moving forward. If someone doesn't respond, follow up, reach out to another person whose career you admire or someone that you kind of like look up to, because at the end of the day, people are not deliberately trying to make you fail. people I'm sure would want to help you. And again, you've heard it here. I don't think any one of us would be where we are without a connect or someone who knew someone, or it all starts from somewhere, but if you don't get that initial response, it's not that we hate you, the world is not out to get you, people are probably just busy.